Okay, it's saying that we are live, and let's see if I can find the broadcast here on the iPad just to make sure. Standard operating procedure, and we've got about a minute and a half until showtime. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. We'll see what the audio sounds like here in a moment. Does sound good. Does sound good to me on the iPad, and Chi-Town is in the house first. It says there are 3 people watching at this moment, and he's one of them. And I guess I'm number 2, so there's somebody else out there lurking around. So I may try to do something live on the air here. I may try to stop the GMT 9F stunner for 1 second. I may try to do that. I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not. Let's get the time here side by side. Cut here, and then go to B. Okay, so we can see, I'm going to freeze it. I think we're about a second off. So I'm going to let it get up to right at the straight up 12 marker, and I'm going to freeze it. And we're going to see here if I'm actually a second fast on the 9F when I set it yesterday. Bam. Okay, so it looks like we're a second fast. Okay, so what I might try to do during the show, and I'm going to ask you folks if you think I should do this or not. I might live on the show try to unscrew the crown, pull it out, and hack the second for just 1 second and push it back in. What do you all think? Do you think I'll be able to do that and stop it for just 1 second? Let me know what you think about excuse me. I don't know what's wrong with my throat lately. It's dry, but anyway. So, what do you think? Do you think I can stop it for 1 second and not more than 1 second? That is the question. It was confirmed yesterday on his live stream. Mark Goldberg is playing for the other team. What exactly does that mean? I'm not sure exactly what that means, but if what you mean is that he's anti this show, well, most of them are. Most of the pundits are anti this show because on this show we call it the way we see it. We're not politically correct here because we don't care. We're not trying to monetize this channel, and we don't care if we make any money off of off these broadcasts. They do. I mean, they've got a bunch of watch debt they have to pay off, right? And God knows what other debts. So they got to do beg streams and all kinds of stuff to make money. Whereas we're totally independent. We don't need to make any money. And so we can say what we want and we can call it the way it is. And we're pretty much probably the only channel out here that does that. Maybe you can let me know if there's another one. Most of them have agendas. Either agendas because of their belief systems, their predisposed dispositions, or whatever, or financially motivated. They've got agendas. We really don't have an agenda here. We just simply call it the way it is. That's how we do on this channel. I don't know, Craig, are you quick on the draw? Okay, well, we'll see. Craig, you need to set up a charity match with Mark. The animosity is getting crazy now, and if you call him out, he can't back out. Just make it a live stream and go at him. Shifter versus Dogman. Well, that wouldn't be fair to him. I mean, I would just totally annihilate him on a live stream. So I don't think we should do that. I think he's probably he's a young guy. He's still got a lot to learn, right? But I think he's probably deep down inside a decent guy. He's just got issues, and he'll probably work out a lot of those issues given another 10 or 20 years or so. He's a young guy. Right? He said he has a boyfriend. Mark is gay. Okay, a little bit light in the loafers. Is that it? Mark has been very open about being gay. I don't understand the big deal. Oh, okay. Well, I don't think it's a big deal either. I'm all for as many of my competitors as possible being gay. I mean, they say that you go to San Francisco, I mean, you talk about being easy to date like a gorgeous female. You want to go to San Francisco, right, where you have no competition. None of them are interested in the females. So there's something to be said about that, right? And somebody commented on my comment the other day about, you know, if you just go up to the beautiful girl and ask her out or whatever, I mean, you got as good a chance as if she was homely, because you might even have a better chance because a lot of guys are intimidated and aren't willing to walk up to them and say anything. And when I first started selling cars, I had a sales manager that was freaking brilliant, man. He was good. And I remember it was 1977. I was working at Wheaton Dodge City in Wheaton, Maryland, selling Dodges. And first job selling cars. And I made a sale my first day. It was a Saturday. And I made a sale. It was a Dodge Aspen. And they had just come out, the 1978 models had just come out. It was a 1978 Aspen. And loaded up, and I sold it, and I was all happy, right? You know, I'm getting ready to go back to the lunchroom and get something to eat on Saturdays. You know, they had lunch in the back room and all that, and my sales manager, he says, what are you talking about? He says, go out and grab another up, sell another car. He says, my best salesman is the salesman who just made a sale. And how true that is. You know, when you're up and you're excited, you just made a sale. I mean, you can do anything at that point. You can walk on water. So I went out and I sold another car. But anyway, he used to always say in our sales manager meetings, Saturday mornings, he'd pump you all up at the sales managers meeting. We'd go in there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and he'd have the sales managers meeting. Half of us would be hungover. The other half, I didn't really drink that much back then, but the other half would just be worn out from the night before. But he'd say, you know, the thing about you guys, you know, you guys, when you guys go into the bar, you're going to get the girl because you're salesmen, you're professionals. You go up and you're not intimidated, and that's why you leave with the girl. It's just the same thing. That's why you close the deal, because you're professionals. You know what you're doing. That guy, he really knew how to pump people up. And it's all true. It's all true. Let's see, Marcus, you are probably the same age. No, I don't think so. I don't think Mark's my age. I think Mark is 62. I don't think is he really 62? I didn't think he was that old. Well, that's a shame then. He's probably never going to learn. If he hasn't learned by that age, he's probably never going to learn. You can get a date in San Francisco if you don't dress in a t-shirt and cargo pants. San Francisco is a fashion desert. It's dorks are us. You know, and here's the thing. Deep down inside, these females, I'm telling you right now, it took me many years to learn this, but I learned it. They want security. They really do. They want a secure nest. They want a place where they can nest, where they feel secure. And if you can make them feel that that's going to be the case with you, even if it's a total lie, they will go for it. So that's what you got to do. Clive wears blue shoes that look like skeletonized feet. Everyone was making fun of it. Oh, these poor people. So anyway, what else can we talk about? I mean, this is just a part 2 from yesterday. We're going to talk about accuracy a little bit. We'll talk about that. We kind of beat that dead horse a little bit, but we'll talk about that a little bit. Some other people in one of the forums was telling this guy was asking if he should buy a Steinhardt or not. We talked about those a little bit yesterday too, but he was asking if he should buy a Steinhardt or not, and somebody said to buy a Tudor. And I felt like saying, no way. Definitely don't buy a Tudor. Under no circumstances buy a freaking Tudor, for gosh sakes. Wear the Apple Watch before you wear that. And the Apple Watch is a pretty damn good watch. By the way, did you see Bark and Jack's review? I guess he's going to return it. I guess he bought it to return it. You get a 2-week return policy. I don't think that's a good way to do business, you know, to buy something when you know you're going to return it. But I guess that's what he's going to do. I don't. He acted like he's not going to keep it. So I don't know. But They're a hell of a good watch. I would have gotten the stainless steel one with the link bracelet personally. That's a stunner. That's what I have sitting right over yonder there. Put a Y in the chat if you'd like to see the Apple Watch with the link bracelet. Let's see. Mark said he was 10 years older than Kleifsers the other day. How accurate are Cellini quartz? Oh, I would think they'd be pretty accurate. I don't know. I mean, do they still make them? But I would think they'd be pretty accurate. I don't think Rolex would put out any junk. I wouldn't think. All right, so shall we try to do this? Should we try to do this? Let me know in the chat if I should try to hack that second hand on that puppy for 1 second. Notice how it's not lining up with the markers there? That's because of the camera angle. Watch as it goes around, it'll start lining up again. But what do you think? Like right there, it's lining up. Notice it's hitting the hash marks right there. So should I try to hack that for 1 second? Because right now it's 1 second fast from the official time, because that's how I set it yesterday. And my spring drive, I believe, is spot on. I think I got it spot on. Let me know in the chat if you think I should try to hack that. Meanwhile, I'm going to refresh this. Oh, swipe down to close. Oh, they changed that. That's interesting. Okay. All right, so that's the last comment was on the Cellini. I'm trying to think what else we covered that I had some comments about. Let's see. There was one. Oh yeah, somebody commented on one of my videos about the diver, like not even comparing to a sub and all this, and how he's, and yes, I've looked at both. I've had it in my hand and so on, and his wife saw this, said like, "Are you kidding me?" And that was in his comment, right? Well, I'll tell you, my experience is the extremely attractive females love this puppy. I mean, I showed Brianna this one, and I showed her the second hand, and she just like started getting enamored with it. I mean, she started like feeling my arm and pressing herself against me, and I mean, she couldn't get enough of this one. And then she finally figured out how to work the clasp, and she took it off and put it on. And I have to admit, it looked a lot better on her than me. Here, let me pull up the picture of Brianna wearing the watch. It definitely looked better on her than me. I had already put the GMT on her, and she wasn't happy with just the GMT. So I'm trying to get this to load in. My Flickr is loading slow, because of the fact that I'm hogging all the bandwidth for this. See if I can find the picture here. I got to go back in time. Where is it? Oh, it's before that. I'm sorry about the delay here, folks. Okay, here we go. Let's see which one's better. Let's do, well, this one, I don't particularly like the smile as much on this one, but we'll go ahead and do that. We're going to say view all sizes. Give me a second here, because I want to zoom in on this puppy a little bit. There we go. So there she is wearing the stunner. She's got on her right hand, she's got the diver stunner, and then on her left hand she's got the GMT, and she liked them both. So that's how that works. Hack it. Okay. If the Cellini quartz uses the same movement as the oyster quartz, then it will be incredibly accurate, 10 seconds per year or thereabouts. There you go. All right, let's do it. Let's do it to it. While I'm doing this, I'll run an ad for Bree. I'll put up her website, and I'll go grab it. I'm going to grab the watch. Give me a moment here. Okay, give me a moment. That's really dirty. Anyway, I'm not going to clean it. So that's the spring driver. The spring driver. And here's the GMT. What size is the GS diver? Well, the GS diver, I think the published size is 43 mils. 43 mils. But because of the lugs and the shape of the case and everything, it wears like a smaller watch than that, I think. You know, yes, yeah. Triforce Rich says it wears more like a 42. And also, it's not just the case profile. Also, mine is the titanium one, which is a lot lighter, which that helps too. 40 mils seems like the sweet spot. Peter, this one's 39.5 mils, I think. Or is it 38.5? What's the exact spec size of the GMT stunner? Somebody put in the chat. I'm confused now. Is it 38.5 mil or 39.5 mils? But anyway, it's a great size. All right, so I'm going to try to hack this thing for 1 second. Hold on, folks. Don't anybody panic. I'll tell you when it's time to panic. Here we go. I'm going to hack it live on the show. Out, in. Okay, I hacked it for the quickest time I could. So now I'm screwing down the crown. Okay. Now I'm going to have to put it back. First, before we do that, let's check the time on the diver stunner. Let's go side by side on the diver. Oops. Sorry, Brianna. Brianna's wearing a bikini there. Wow. Oh, she's pretty much all that anyway. All right, let's get the time side by side there. Let's not get you guys too excited in the peanut gallery. Okay, here we are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this when we get up to right up at the straight up 12. I'm going to try to pause this puppy and see. Yesterday I did this, and it looked like to me it was pretty much spot on. Spot freaking on. There we go. Oh, wait. 4:15:59, so maybe it's a hair fast. Let's do that one more time because, you know, it might have been a question of when I pushed. Okay, let me try to do it at 30 seconds. I'm going to try to do it and see what happens here. I'm definitely not going to change this one. And of course, again, camera angle does play into this, folks. And now see there, it struck right on 30 seconds, right? So it's very, very close. I think it depends on when I push the button, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to do it again at 12, at straight up 12. And we're going to see what we've got. But I think this one's damn close, probably within a fraction of a second, which is going to be good for us checking it going forward to see how it holds up over time. So, bam. See there, it's straight on, right at 0, right? So maybe I pushed it a hair different that time. Okay, so there we go. So that's the diver stunner we can feel confident is doing what it needs to do. So let's take off the side by side. Whoops, I'm sorry, pushed the wrong button. Let's take off the side by side and let's go back real quick to our Brianna. Let's go back to our Brianna advertisement, and I'm going to switch the GMT out for the diver, and we're going to do a check on the time on it. So give me a moment here. Okay, there we got the GMT back on the bench. Oh, shoot, let me grab my other watch. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I feel naked if I don't have my watch on wrist. I really have to have the watch on wrist. Is there something Is that a problem? Is that something I need to get addressed? But I feel strange without a watch on my wrist. Okay. All right, so let me catch up on the comments, and then we'll check and see if I was successful in hacking it for 1 second. Let's see here. I've handled both the GS Dive and the Submariner. The bracelet clasp are better on the Sub, but the finishing is better on the GS. The movement is a preference thing, full mechanical versus hybrid. I love the bracelet on this. I think the bracelet is fantastic, and the clasp I've gotten to love. I mean, I love you see, this is something where you just have to wear it for a period of time before you really get the beauty of the clasp. It is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so let's see, we got the GMT is exactly 39 mils. I tried it on in person and the size was amazing. I'd consider it if you didn't already have a 16-7-10. There you go. Okay, so let's check this out. Let's see how accurate, how close I've been able to get it. Let's go back to the watch, the stunner, and let's do the split frame. Okay, and so what we're going to do here is we're going to let this go on around. I will try it at 30 seconds. We'll try a freeze frame at 30 seconds, and then we'll try it again at straight up 12. Should have done it right there where it's on the hash mark, but I'm going to take it at 30 and try that. There. Oh, look, looks like I might have got it. All right, so let's go around to 12. We'll do 3 checks here and see if I got it. By George, he's got it. Okay. We're gonna do a couple more checks on this just to give a good thing here. Okay, bam. See, it looks right on. Now again, the camera angle is such that don't pay attention to it not hitting the hash mark, because that's just a camera angle thing. I'm gonna wait till it gets around to where it's actually hitting right on the hash marks, right around 22 seconds or so, and then I'm gonna freeze it there and see what we have. I'm going to go to the next one, right there. See, 23? I'm right on. Man, I did it, folks. I did it. Let's try 34 seconds. There, right there, see? Yeah, we got it. We got it, folks. I call that a straight up success. Let's take off the side-by-side. There we go. Whoa. Got it, man. Hacked it for 1 second. Let's see. The Rolex hype priced me out of most of the professional models I would consider. The GS is nice, and I really like the Omega Planet Ocean as an option. I'll tell you, excuse me. It really depends on your use case. If you can get by with a sport watch like this all the time, if you don't wear like a dress shirt cuff that's kind of tight, where you have issues with a watch this big, that's why I need both watches, is because I can't wear this with my dress cuffs. It's just too big. My dress cuffs are kind of tight because my arms are a little bit oversized, the forearm area. But anyway, so if you can get by with a watch this size, I really think you cannot beat this as an all-around, all-the-time watch, because it's so comfortable because of the titanium, and the titanium's rugged stuff. Very, very durable. This has got very few scratches. The clasp is stainless steel, and it's got a lot of scratches. But the watch itself is really nice, considering 18 months of heavy use this thing's been through. And I'm going to give you a close-up. I have not cleaned this prior to the show, but here's a close-up. And see, I think, even given the size, it fits nice to the wrist because of the shape of the lugs. It fits right around the contour. It's really just well engineered that way. Unlike a Super K Sub, which is like squared off and just it's just a cluster, you know what. This is just really, really amazing. And then you factor in the spring drive so that you can just set it and forget it type of thing. You don't have to worry about it. It's going to be pretty much spot on accurate. I really don't think you can go wrong. And you can get a good deal on these if you talk to Steve at Little Treasury. He'll give you a good deal on the 231. This is the titanium diver. I think you'd be tickled pink with it. I really do. And if you want to buy a heavily used 18-month-old one that is probably the most accurate one in the country, this is probably the most accurate SBGA231 in the country, I would sell it to a subscriber. I would sell it for, let me think. I would sell it for $5,050 shipped, so that I'll clear like $50. I mean, 5,000. Just, I don't mind saying that's what I paid for it. I got a good deal. But anyway, that you'd be getting the most accurate one in the freaking country. So that's only a subscriber only deal. So that's how that works. Because it's getting to that time of the year where I'm going to be wearing the GMT anyway a lot of the time, so I could get by until spring without this, and then I'd have to figure out what to get in the spring. I'd have to get something. So I would get something pretty awesome in the spring if I did that deal. Let's see. The GMT is a stunner too, but you somewhat get addicted to the smooth second hand movement on an automatic. Okay. Looks too big. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if it depends on the size of your wrist also, I think. This is a good size watch, and the thing is, for me, because my eyes aren't the greatest, and a lot of times I'm not wearing my reading glasses, I like the bigger size. It's so super legible. But some people want a smaller watch, and you know, that GMT would be ideal. I mean, 39 mil, nice and thin, it's only 12 mils thick. And of course, you're not going to get quite as good a legibility as you get with the with this diver, the huge hands and everything, right? It's all trade-offs. Everything's a trade-off in this business. We've been through this many times. There really is no perfect watch. Everything there's trade-offs. Chi-Town, I wish they would make a 40 millimeter Titan. It's just too big for my wrist. Yeah. Again, like I say, it's all trade-offs. Here's the problem with a 40 mil diver watch. Oh, excuse me. A 40 mil diver's watch, like use the Submariner as an example. The dial on a Submariner, believe it or not, is about the same size dial as a 36 mil Datejust. So the dial is pretty small. See, we're used to all seeing those watches in macro shots where they're real big, right? Everything's real big. But in real life, the dial is kind of small on those watches, especially for somebody older with not as strong eyesight, right? Because again, the dial is about the same size as the dial on a 36 mil Datejust because of the bezel, because of the thickness of the bezel, right? So that's something to think about. You know, it is all trade-offs. One nice thing about this this watch, you notice the bezel is not as wide, not as whatever term you want to use, doesn't use up as much real estate as the bezel on, for example, a sub, right? So the dial is a pretty good sized dial on that watch. Even though it's a 39 mil watch, the dial's a pretty good sized dial. Significantly bigger dial than a sub. Sub has a much smaller dial than that watch you're looking at right there. And the sub is a bigger watch, right? So it's all trade-offs. And a lot of these things, like what you just heard just now, a lot of these things you're not going to hear on the other channels. You're just not going to hear it. Trying to think what else. Any other questions or comments or anything else that we should address from yesterday? I'm calling this broadcast a success anyway because I was able to get that puppy there right in sync. right in sync. So now when we do future accuracy checks, we'll know that it was spot on at daylight savings time. And by the way, now, right now, it's the correct time. Okay, so if you go out at noon this time of the year, that's actually high noon, right? Whereas before, they changed it. With daylight savings time, they jiggered it around and it was not correct, right? And so high noon wasn't high noon, which I think is stupid, right? We should know when it's noon, should be when the sun is highest in the sky, right? They shouldn't monkey around with that. Okay, Craig, how about a healthy compromise, 42 mil, 12.5 thick spring drive diver? That'd be fantastic. That would be fantastic. And I think they could get it down to 12.5 mils. I think they could if they worked at it. The problem is that the Grand Seiko people are kind of fat and happy. They're selling pretty much everything they're producing. They don't really have the capacity to ramp up any more production. They don't have enough people. And there's a lot of hand work in these watches. So they're kind of fat and happy right now. I was asking them about this watch. We talked about this the other day, this Gold Stunner. I can't get enough of this watch. This thing. I'm glad the price is so high because I'd probably already own one if it was priced more reasonably. But this thing is stunning. Let's play this video a little bit.
Would call poly noir or black polish. A push-down crown, 30 meters water resistant, and a simple conical bezel, giving way to what would conventionally be dubbed the snowflake dial. This is the dial that you know from the SBGA 11 and 211, or the snowflake. Half a dozen steps to create a lovely snowdrift undulation pattern that has a wonderful light and lively randomness to it. It's designed.
Oh, here's where he shows the clasp also. See if it'll load in. It's struggling here. Oh, come on. The hell?
Solid yellow gold, 18 karat, and oddly Italian-made component. As I've noticed, Grand Seiko's gold clasps generally are made in Italy, and I would love to know the supplier. It is a twin-trigger spring-loaded. Jumping back to the case itself, it's a combination of handsome satin finish, and you can see the case band in vintage fashion is rather spare. It's slender and it's satin finished with a longitudinal grain, and then there's a bit of a hollow on the underside, as well as a polished lug hood that transitions to a polished mid-case, and all of this is Zaratsu finished, and that is the Grand Seiko and Seiko hand finished.
Oh boy, that's an amazing piece. Wow. I mean, if you want to, here's the thing. If you want to wear a dress watch, I mean, how can you beat that puppy? Spring drive, so it's going to have that mesmerizing second hand, right? And of course, spot on accuracy. No date, so you don't have to worry about setting a date. 18 karat yellow gold, which is the way any dress watch should be, in my opinion. A perfect size. I think that's about 39 mils. Maybe that's the one that's 38 and a half. It's 10 mils thick. I mean, it's just perfect. Craig would never tell anyone else how to spend their money, but you really need that gold GS Stunner. Okay, Jaden. But by the way, there in that case would be THEIR. But anyway, yeah, that Gold Stunner is something else. I'll tell you. Don't be shocked if at some point you see that puppy on my wrist. I'll put it that way. Don't be shocked. And I have saved the search on eBay. So if one pops up on eBay pre-owned for a decent price, I will hammer on it. Everybody raves about how the Grand Seiko has no resale value. I hope that's the case. I hope I'll be able to snag one of those for a really good price secondhand. I would do it in a heartbeat. Craig, I recommend a Google search on explaining Seiko's legendary history in Swiss chronometer trials. with live pictures of its landmark. Yeah, I've looked at a bunch of those videos and a bunch of the blog posts about their history and all of those things. And yeah, it's fascinating. The whole story is fascinating about some of these watches, and in particular Grand Seiko and some of the those Crador, the higher end ones. But they make some of the Crador or however you pronounce it. Some of them are not all that great, but some of them are just stunning. We can say that about all these makers, right? They all have hits and they all have strikeouts. And I told the one guy, I said, you know, if you're hell bent and hell set on getting a sub, look at the Yachtmaster. I think it's a hell of an option. And you can get them at various price points depending on the model that you get, but they have a much better looking case. I think they're a stunning piece. So there are options in all of these scenarios. There are options. Okay. What else do you all have for me? What else do you all have for me? I think we've kind of we've kind of talked the accuracy thing to death. I mean, to me, I like a watch that's really accurate because I don't want to go through the setting procedure any more often than I have to. Because I like to have the second hand right in sync with the minute hand. So when it's at the 12, it's right at the minute hand's right at the marker. And so that you got to go through a little bit of trial and tribulations to get it that way. And by the way, the one gentleman did make a good point where you go 5 minutes past and then you back up the minute hand, and that takes like the slack out of the movement. So that's a trick, and it doesn't always work. I mean, you try that, and sometimes you still don't get it an exact synchronization. I use a magnifying glass to look to make sure that minute hand's right at the hash mark when the second hand's at the 12, and it's hard to get them absolutely exact. Usually they're hair off one way or the other, but you can get them as close as you possibly can. Hi, Craig. Happy can catch a live show. We're just getting ready to wrap up. Oh, that's a shame when somebody comes in and they say they're happy that they caught a live show, and then we're getting ready to wrap it up. Put some questions in the chat, and I'll deal with them. Absolutely. That's what live shows are for, is the interaction. It's all about the interaction. Otherwise, why do them live? Trying to think what else. 18 karat gold cufflinks go with a great 18. Absolutely. You'd have to have the 18 karat gold cufflinks. And of course, I've got the gold pin already. You want to have all your accessories match. I don't mind wearing a brass belt buckle. That kind of goes enough with the gold. So yeah, absolutely. You want everything to match. So yeah. Trying to think what else we've got here. Let me go through some of these other tabs and just make sure there wasn't something that we missed. And by the way, there's the price on that stunner. $25,000, and notice they don't even have a decent picture of it. It's like a drawing or something. I don't know where they get these, who comes up with these pictures for Grand Seiko, but talk about a total fail. David's in the house. Oh, and we talked about the timeless razors the other day. I'm going to give them another plug. I love them. I love the timeless razors. I shaved with the stainless steel one today, and they have a bronze one. There it is right there. I've got that one as well, and then they've got the aluminum one now. And so go to timelessrazor.com. You will freaking love them. And they are not sponsoring this show. They're just cool folks. Let's see. What's your favorite best choice for a dress watch under $1,000, a steel stunner? There are a ton of, depending on what you mean by dress watch, but there are a ton of Grand Seikos on eBay that you can buy for under $1,000. I would highly recommend getting a Grand Seiko with the 9F movement and call it a day. Let me pull one up. Let me pull one up here and see if I can find a Grand Seiko stunner for under $1,000. You ask and you shall get. Seiko men's dress. Men's dress watch. Okay, here we go. Whoa, look what we got already right off the top here. Right at the top here, we've got a vintage Grand Seiko GS day-date dress watch, rare. That's kind of interesting. That's not a terribly ugly case either. That's $8.99. Now, some of these you got to watch it. Some of them are pretty small on the wrist, so you got to watch it. And there's one for, that's a King Seiko for $587. Let's keep looking here. Oh, there's one for $4,000. Huh? Okay. So I could have sorted by price, but I didn't. I'm just kind of going through here real quick. There's one for straight up $1,000 with a blue dial. And that's an automatic, I guess, 1971. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to be careful, right? You want to get one that's in good running order and all of that. Now, there's one. I wonder what size that watch is right there. I bet it's kind of small. Let's open this in a new window and see what size that is. I like the shape of the lugs in the case is the reason that kind of caught my eye. Let's see if they give the size. Oh, shoot. That's the only thing you got to look out for on these watches is the size. Some of them are fairly petite. And again, that depends on the size of your wrist. But yeah, that's what I would look at. I would do a search. I would find some Grand Seikos. I would lean towards one with the 9F because you're less likely to have any kind of problems with that. They're pretty much bulletproof reliable. So I would think about that. Let's see here. What is your favorite best choice? Okay, I would answer that. Rolex needs to come out with the CraigShipp, a 38 millimeter yellow gold day-date with spring drive movement and micro adjustments would be tossing. Absolutely. And just give me the President bracelet with the conventional clasp with the adjustments in it. Absolutely. And all I need really is 3 micro adjustments. The ideal would be 3 of them about 1.5 millimeters each. And that would be fantastic. Why is Chip Wrong so nasty to you and crappy? I don't know. He's just a weird guy. I mean, some people have issues. Some people are kind of trollish and kind of have issues. Who freaking knows? I mean, he might not be happy that he's blocked from this channel. I mean, that might be part of it. But we block trolls. We don't allow trolls in here. Let's see here. I love the new SBGK009 on bracelets. Okay, let's check it out. SBGK009. Let's check it out. Here we can get it. Boom, boom. And you know what's neat about this watch is I'm told that bracelet fits some of the other models as well. They let us know that at the event. The only thing about this watch is I prefer the model that has the power reserve on the back and has the conventional second hand. They make a model similar to this that has the power reserve on the back that's also manual wind, and that would be the way that I would go, and it's about the same price range. and I think they're both about 10 mils thick. Yeah, this is 11.6, so this is thicker. I think the other one's about 10 mils. So yeah, I mean they're both going to be great, and this is going to look a lot better in person than it looks in this picture. By the way, these pictures do not do these watches, any of these watches, these Grand Seikos, justice. I wouldn't even call them pictures. I don't know what they are. If they're a freaking drawing or what the hell they are. Let's see here. Do you recommend the 18 millimeter thick Rolex James Cameron for use with tight French cuffs? There you go. Just discovered your channel the other day. Love hearing your thoughts about watches. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. I've got a lot of videos up. Just use the keyword search function on the channel, and we got videos on just about any subject you can think of, including watches. We've got a bunch of other content on here, too, about EDC items and clothing and all kinds of stuff. Product reviews, camera gear, audio, all kinds of stuff. Craig, you should treat yourself to the FP Journe that Steve is dealing with. It's a stunner. Yeah, that is a pretty stunning watch. I'll grant you that. Does anybody know what he's asking for it? I'm scared to ask him. Did anybody follow up and ask him what the price is on that? Cheaton Craig waiting for the all yellow gold James Cameron. Of it, calm, concise, quiet, professional, polite. Okay. All right, we'll try. He manages to convey a lot of qualities I appreciate immensely. Oh, wow. Okay. There we go. Hey, you can hang out anytime with us. Absolutely. Talk like that will get you a wrench, too, at some point. Absolutely. By the way, our wags, do you have anybody else earmarked for a wrench? Notice we're getting a little weak on wrenches in the chat. We might need a couple. Might need to draft a few more for the wrench gang. I don't know why Chi-Town. I think he said he didn't want a wrench. I don't know why he didn't want a wrench. I think he would be a good one for a wrench, but maybe not. Maybe he doesn't want one. So I would imagine 40K. No. Really? You think it's that much? Interesting. Why doesn't somebody check it out and let us know next time on the show? Contact Steve. He'll tell you. I know he had a couple of inquiries on the watch from the first show that he did. Craig is the Archie antithesis. Okay. Archie's an entertainer. I mean, he really is. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's like a circus entertainer. I was at the circus the other day. He's a carny or whatever he is. I was at the circus the other day, and the folks from the little gym, a client of mine, they gave them a tour, a backstage tour, a special field trip for the kids. The day that the show was going to open, Thursday. And so we went, and I shot a little video and some photos, and those folks are entertainers, right? I mean, they're all that, right? And Archie's like a circus guy. I mean, he's a I think that's in his blood. I think he's a gypsy. But anyway, yeah, he's just an entertainer, like those folks at the circus. I would nominate Chi-Town, but I don't know. Oh, he'll take a wrench. Okay, well there we go. We got a nomination. David, will you second? Will you second the nomination if you're still in? Craig, might you know if Carlos is visiting Las Vegas? I don't know, but I know he's supposed to be coming to the U.S. in the spring. He's going to be in this area. I don't know if he's coming to the West before that. That's a good question. I haven't seen Carlos for the last couple shows. Why do you prefer the power indicator on the back? Just on the dress watch, I just want a very clean dial on the dress watch. I don't mind it on this watch on the front. I kind of like it, but On a dress watch, I just want it as clean a dial as I can get. So, yeah, but I mean, it wouldn't be a deal killer. Plus, I just like the full size second hand. I don't like the small second hand dial. So there's that too. Never seen one on a gold bracelet. Yeah, exactly. Have you ever sold a watch you've owned, or is selling parts of your collection not something you practice to? Oh yeah, I've sold. Yes, I've sold. I don't keep watches that I'm not wearing. I wear watches. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, David seconds Chi. Okay, so let me just give him a wrench here real quick. Add moderator. Okay, that should be done. Okay, so yes, I sell watches. I've sold watches here live on the show. I sold watch to a subscriber, a gold stunner that I had, an 18 karat gold GS dress watch with the 9F movement. I love that watch, but I had a subscriber that wanted it even more than me, and so I sold that to him. I sold a snowflake that I decided that I didn't want to wear for several reasons. I really liked the snowflake, but this was hogging my wrist time, and the snowflake wasn't really getting any wrist time. So for me, if I'm not wearing a watch, it goes. I do not just store watches in boxes. I buy watches to wear. So yes, if I'm not using the watch for any period of time and it looks like I'm not going to be using the watch, it goes down the road. I sold my Date 8, which I bought new in the year 2000. I had it for 19 years, and I sold it because it was getting hard for me to read because of my, tired eyes. And that one had the silver dial. There wasn't a lot of contrast between the hands and the dial, and it got to the point where I wasn't wearing it that much. And if I'm not wearing it that much, it's going down the road. Even though I was kind of attached to that watch, I really liked that watch. I wore it a lot. It got to the point where I wasn't wearing it, and so it went down the road. I'm kind of in denial about my vision. I don't wear my reading glasses. A lot of the times when I'm just out and about, I just don't wear these. I have another pair of glasses that are those progressive things, and I wear them when I drive, but I don't wear them like when I'm out hiking and doing different things. My distance vision is still good enough that I really don't need them. But for reading, for close up, like this watch, I can read fine because of the huge hands and all the lume on it. I mean, I can read this fine just now without the glasses on, right? But the Date 8 got to the point where I couldn't read it without the glasses on. At least, if there was really good light, I could still read it, but if the light was kind of low, I'm looking at it 2 or 3 times and moving my hand back and forth. It just got to be a problem. So yeah, it went down the road. You're officially a tool now. Congrats. Well, there you go. Let's see here. Honestly, the Snowflake is one of the most flipped watches I've seen. Those things pop up in the forums multiple times every week. Yeah, I mean, they get around. I mean, if that watch was 12 mils thick, okay, I would probably still have it. I probably would not have bought that watch. But then again, maybe that's not true because, see, the advantage of that GMT is that's a grab and go watch. I don't have to worry about giving it wrist time to keep it running. With the Snowflake, I had to give it wrist time to keep it running, and that would take wrist time away from this watch, which this watch is the one I preferred wearing. So I got into this tug of war between wearing this and wearing the Snowflake. And again, this is more legible, so this won out and got most of my wrist time. So it got to be a chore to keep them both running to give the Snowflake enough wrist time. Whereas with this one, I don't have to worry about that. It can be off wrist for 3 days. It can be off wrist for a week. And it's a grab and go piece. It's still running. So yeah, everybody's situation is different. But the Snowflake is gorgeous, don't get me wrong, and it's super comfortable on wrist. I think it's 12.6 mils thick or something like that. I wish they could get it down to 12. I think it would make a difference, or even 11.5. That would make a difference. And also, it's a little bit big. I think it's about 41 mils. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's about that. See, this one I think is a better size, a little bit smaller. Just really works as an all-arounder. Can work as a dress watch because it's only 12 mils thick. So yeah, we run into these issues where we just get the watch and it's just not really exactly what we want. And so, yeah, sometimes I got to go down the road. That's just the way that works. How come you have tired eyes looking at your watch, yet your eyes are sharp as a hawk when it comes to beautiful women? You know, hey, it's funny. It's really funny. I was taking a picture of those, some portraits of the gorgeous ladies at the circus. And I'll show you one of those photos here in a minute. And, you know, you have the Doppler adjustment in the camera, in the EVF. Well, you adjust that to your eye, right? And so when I look through the EVF, everything looks fine. I can focus, I can make sure I'm focused right on their eyeball, and it's fine because it's adjusted for my eye. But when I bring the photo up, like on the screen, on the back of the camera, to show it to them, for them to look at it and see if they like it, it's all blurry to me. I can't tell a damn thing, right? But I show it to them, and they look at it, and they're, oh, yeah, it looks great. I have to look through the EVF. Now, if I put my eye up to the EVF and look at the picture, I can see it clear because the EVF is adjusted to my vision. So it's funny. I'll show it to them. I'll say, here, you better look at this and see if it's any good because I can't see a thing, right? I said, have you ever met a blind photographer? Right? And they laugh. But they're pretty much all that. Let me pull up a picture of them. I think these gypsies are cool. I think they're cool. They travel around and they all look the same, and it's pretty freaking cool. Let me pull up the portrait here of a couple of them. Let me just find a portrait with the 85 mil lens. Oh, I like this one where the girl holds her thumb up. This one's good. Let me make sure this was with the 85 mil. Pretty. Yeah, this was with the 85 mil. So let's go full screen with this. And they are stunning. They're so cool. Don't you love these gypsies? Aren't they neat? And they're gorgeous and, you know, super nice. And yeah, I mean, no, I mean, yeah, they are just, talk about in shape. I mean, they're like acrobats and stuff. I mean, are you kidding me? Damn. And you like that Cher song, you know, and the night would come around and the men would put their money down and all that, you know. I don't know if that goes on anymore or not, but it you know, your mind can easily get in the gutter because they're freaking gorgeous. So yeah, I can still spot the gorgeous females. Yeah, that's doable. Here's the problem though. And this is the issue with photography. When you take a photograph of a person, okay, it's in 2 dimensions. And yes, you're going to do everything you can to try to give depth to that photo. You're going to have a shallow depth of field. You're going to play around with the background. You're going to focus on their eye and let everything else drop off and be soft. You're going to try to do things to give that photo some dimension and make it interesting. Maybe do a hair light on the back on the head. You're going to do different things, right? But the bottom line is it's one-dimensional. The photo is flat, one-dimensional. And so what happens is it makes them look fatter than they are, right? So they've got to be really stunning to look good in a photograph, in my opinion, because typically they're going to look fatter in the photograph, especially if you're using a wide angle lens. Forget about it, right? I've got some photos that I took with the 35 mil lens of these same girls, and that looks okay. It doesn't look as good as with that 85 mil portrait lens. And so you take the situation where we've got 2/3 of the people out there are obese. It's hard to take good photographs anymore sometimes because you've got obese people that you're trying to take their picture. And it's not that easy. I I take my hat off to these photographers that can take family portraits and all that, and 2/3 of the people are obese, and they still somehow try to make them look good. It's quite a challenge. So yeah, so that's why I say these. Trust me, they're in shape. I mean, they're pretty much all that. And that one guy, that acrobat. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I got to show you this. This was unbelievable. He did this for the kids. Let me see if I can pull this up. Give me a moment here, because this guy was unbelievable. I said, could you just do a little something for the video? And this guy gets on like one arm, let me just pull this up. You might hear some audio here in a second. Just give me a second here. Don't anybody panic. Let me see here.
Hi, my name is Carissa Fusco, and I'm an aerialist with Cirque Italia
I'm
Water
just gonna
Circus
pa-
here
I'm
in
gonna
Frederick,
try to
Maryland,
skip.
for only
I'm
feature
gonna try to skip
performers
to
from
where
all
this
over
guy does the thing.
this event.
Give me a second.
You
Here,
guys
look at this.
and
Look at this.
get out with your family.
Look at this guy.
And just have fun for 2 hours.
One
here at
freaking
Cirque
arm. Are you
Italia Water
kidding me?
Circus.
Look at
Hi,
this.
my
Look
name
at
is
this.
Tiffany Cianci. I'm the owner at the Little Gym of Frederick, and I'm here with our Wonder Kids Club, which is a very special.
I'm like, no problem. I can do that. Oh boy. Wide angle is to not be flattening people. Yeah, they sure do not. Gypsies, tramps, and thieves. David in the house. Yeah. Then it is true that photos or even being on TV ads 10 to 15 pounds to your frame. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for example, Brianna, she looks really good in the photos. And this is the same thing with Audrey. When you see her in person, she's really petite. I mean, she looks great. I mean, everything's in the right place, right? But she is very petite. But you take the pictures and they look fantastic because they fill her out a little more. And a lot of these actresses and so forth that look really great on screen, I mean, you see them in person and they're thinner than you think they are, right? And they have to be to still look great on screen. I mean, that's the way it works. That's incredible poise and body strength. Yeah, these people. And those girls are the same way. Those two girls you just saw in the picture, I mean, you talk about strong, the stuff that they can do. I mean, they could literally kick your butt. I mean, they're no joke, the whole bunch of them. I hung around with a lot of the circus people down in Sarasota. Sarasota is a big circus town. And I did a lot of work with the Sailor Circus down there, where they teach them all how to do all that circus stuff. And those people, some of them are amazing. I mean, some of them are like multi-generational, performers like that. And you can tell that one photo of those girls, you can tell that little girl is being groomed. And it was so great to watch the mom. I guess it was the mom with the girl, because she's holding her and like holding her up and throwing her around and doing stuff. And you can tell they're already training that little girl to do the family business. And they're just pros. I mean, and that is so impressive when I meet people like that. I mean, I just love to be around people that are serious about what they do and are good at what they do. And if they're gorgeous females, that's another bonus. That's a big bit. People say, "Oh, you're so shallow judging people on their looks." Here's the thing: they worked hard to have those looks. They work hard, and in this day and age, in particular, if a female's in great shape like that, like those two ladies, like Brianna, like Audrey, whatever, I mean, they make sacrifices. And they work hard to look like that. They could go out and they could eat pizza every night, and they could eat donuts in the morning, and they could go and drink these real fattening coffees at Starbucks, right? That have more calories than a Cinnabon, right? They could make all these bad choices that these other people make, and that makes them blow up like balloons, right? But some of these people choose not to make those bad choices, and therefore they look fantastic. And I think they should be lauded for it. I really do. I think. And people say, well, you shouldn't put down people that are fat and all. It's not their fault, and so on and so forth. Most of them, it's their fault. The vast majority of them, it's their fault. They're making poor decisions. Very few of them actually have physical problems that cause that, right? Now you can have have genes or have a proclivity to putting on weight, right? You can be preordained to be fat almost because of your family and all that. I mean, my family, just about all of them are overweight, right? I have to make extreme sacrifices to stay in shape. I eat almost nothing that's processed. I eat almost no like high fat foods unless it's high quality fat like an avocado. I'm very careful what I eat. I exercise on average about 2 hours a day, okay? 2 hours a freaking day to try to stay in shape, right? Because your metabolism slows as you get older, right? It's natural for you to just put on weight. Well, I'm not going there. I don't care if it's natural for me to put on weight. I'm going to fight that. And so I respect people that are willing to make the sacrifices and not go down that path. And maybe that's politically incorrect, but that's the way it is. I think that little girl's a boy. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a boy. I think it's a girl. But anyway, who knows? Have you visited the Ringling? Yes, I've visited the Ringling Museum. I think I have a video on the channel here from years ago. It should still be on the channel. Absolutely, I've visited. Beautiful place. The whole state of Florida is a circus act. Ringling family down in Sarasota. Exactly. John Ringling was the one that pretty much built it. Yeah. I think that little, okay, we read that. Let's see. When I visited the USA, I found that junk food was very cheap and anything healthy was expensive. There you go. Actually, I buy a lot of my food at Costco, and it's not really that bad. I buy the big bag of walnuts, the big bag of almonds to make my almond milk. I buy sweet potatoes there. They're very reasonable. I buy tomatoes there that are really high quality and reasonable. I think it all depends on what you say by reasonable, but I think it's not bad if you buy some of those staples there. And now that I talk about it, I'm starting to get hungry. We're going to have to wrap this puppy up here pretty soon. The most important lesson, though, is to always give positive encouragement to those who want to improve their body health. There you go. But here's the problem, Chi-Town. A lot of people don't. They talk a big game, but they really don't want to improve because their actions speak volumes, right? They talk a good game, but they take the wrong actions. And that's the problem. And see, there's not much discipline in this society anymore. And people are not shunned for making bad decisions like that and all. They're coddled. And you've got these people that take drugs, right? And it's like, it's not their fault. We just need more programs and all of this stuff. Yes, it is their fault. They chose to go out and make poor choices and engage in self-destructive behavior. And now me, the taxpayer, I'm supposed to pay for all those bad decisions? Yeah, I think this tolerance is the whole problem. We're tolerating all of this. And instead of saying, hey, it's freaking wrong, you shouldn't do that, period. And no, there's no gray area. There's no, you were a victim and all of this stuff, right? You went out and made a stupid decision, and now you should pay for it, not everybody else. But no, we're never going to go there. That ship has sailed. So there we go. unhealthy food is cheap. You can eat cheaper at some fast food places than just cooking your own. Plus, with the convenience, lack, discipline, people blow up. What's your wrist size? Mine is 7.25 inches in the wintertime, and it can go as high as 7.5 in the summer. So it's anywhere between 7.25 and 7.5. Ponderosa, all you can eat breakfast with vouchers. Morning, sir. Grand Seiko watches seem to be a great value. They can be. Absolutely, they can be. Last time I went to Poland, I was surprised at how few big fat fatties I saw. In 3 weeks, I came across only one big gross lady. Well, there you go. Some of those, like Moscow and all, you're starting to see a lot of overweight people there too. You used to not see them at all in Russia, but you're starting to see them because there's more fast food there now. So we're exporting our fast food all over the world. Craig, being in my 60s and having attended, being in my 60s and having attended my 50th high school reunion recently, I was amazed at the girls who were shapely and beautiful back then have become overweight and homely. They just don't take care of themselves. That's right. Lots of cheap processed food and few healthy and affordable foods available is known as being in a food desert. Well, there you go. As Dave Remery says, grown-ups devise plans and follow through. Children do what feels good. I guess you're right. In Japan, they have a fat tax. I lost 49 pounds, but I put 12 back on. I need to hit the ground running again. It's difficult. I mean, it really takes serious changes in your whole, daily routine. I mean, major changes. We have a sugar tax here in the UK. Yeah, and I mean, Brianna brought the other day, she brought some yoga, over, and I looked on the thing, and, full of sugar. And she's trying to do the right thing, but a lot of times people think they're getting something healthy, and they're not. So you got to be careful. You really got to. Just about any of the processed food nowadays is just a total fail. You almost have to just make your own stuff. Let's see here. We're going to wrap this up. Craig, what do you use to keep your cutlery shining like new? My cutlery, like my knives in the kitchen and all. I don't do much, but just wipe them off after I use them. I mean, you can clean some stuff with vinegar if something gets messed up or something. But if you wipe everything down after you use it, then they're good steel, good high quality knives. You shouldn't have a problem. I think I have some videos on my channel of my kitchen knives. I may or may not, but my other knives I've got reviews on all of them on the channel. Just search knife. When we shop in the U.S., my wife has to buy clothes from the children's section as she is a size 8 here in the UK. There you go. And that's the other thing, like Brianna has a real advantage when she goes to like the Goodwill and the thrift stores and stuff like that. She can get like some really nice stuff, because she wears like a size 6 or 4 or something, or 2 or whatever the heck she wears. And, a lot of women have bought those things and have grown out of them, right? And so they donate them. And so there's a surplus of these smaller size clothing and dresses and things like that she can snatch up at a deal because nobody else can fit into them. So there's an advantage, right? Craig, do you know the key to success is to buy a Rolex for double retail on the gray market and consume a few Krispy Kremes a day and a burger and or pizza, chips to snack on throughout the day? There you go. I'm a muscular guy, and my number one advice to people is to dump the sugar soda. Our bodies can't process sugar, and it gets converted into fat regardless of the calories. There you go. Yep, sugar also causes more food cravings and energy drain. And here's the other thing, folks. Exercise and it seems like this would not be the case, but exercise suppresses your hunger, your cravings, right? Like when I would go out and play tennis for 2 or 3 hours, right? The last thing I would want to do when I got home is eat a big meal. It actually suppresses your hunger, right? It's pretty cool, your appetite, right? It suppresses it. So when in doubt, just go out and do some fairly rigorous exercise. Climb up a mountain, you know, whatever, right? Do some jogging if you're a young one. Do some rigorous exercise, and that will tend to, you know, suppress your appetite. So there's that. And of course, when you're out there exercising, you can't eat, or you're probably less likely to eat. Speaking of Brianna, she's behind on her daily update. Yeah, we're gonna get her. She was shooting some stuff today, and we are gonna probably be shooting either Tuesday or this weekend. We'll be shooting some stuff. She's busy with a lot of school stuff right now, but she's gonna be. And I got her hooked up with some wireless mics, and we're working on her gear a little bit, and so she's going to be putting out some more content. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. There will be more content coming. What Craig is saying is run from one Rolex AT to another, begging to buy a steel watch. You'll burn some calories. There you go. All right, we're going to wrap this puppy up. Let's check on the stunner one more time, the 9F stunner, and everybody have a great rest of the Sunday and have a super, super, super next week. I'm taking my car first thing in the morning to have struts put all the way around. I had the tires put on the other day, and the tires showed that the struts are getting a little tired. With 130,000 miles on the car, they're the original struts, so that they are ready to be replaced. That's about the life of them. And so I'm going to have struts put all the way around tomorrow at Southside Tire and Auto. I'll probably do a video, so stay tuned on that. This is really the first major maintenance that I'm doing on the Prius. The first major thing is these struts all the way around, but that's just a normal maintenance thing on any car. You're lucky if you get 100,000 miles out of struts these days. So that's how that works. So anyway, everyone, enjoy, and thanks for watching. Oh, click the bell, click subscribe, do all those things.